Hello, today another video covering whether DOT really is not a security anymore. This video is much more optimistic than the last one on this topic. It's looking really good for DOT. I'm still covering this topic as this is one of the most important news of this year happening in Polkadot ecosystem, which will have a great impact on the future ecosystem development and of course also on the future DOT price action. On Tuesday, Web3 Foundation held a Twitter space where a lot of interesting and also not yet mentioned information was shared, clarifying some of the most asked questions from the community. The recording of the space is not yet available on Twitter, but it's available on Spotify, so find the link in the description. There were 4 speakers participating: Joshua Ashley Clayman, US Head of FinTech and Head of Blockchain and Digital Assets, Angie Dalton, Lead Advisor to Web3 Foundation, Daniel Schoenberger, Chief Legal Officer at Web3 Foundation, and Peter, Senior Advisor at Parity Technologies and Web3 Foundation. They all participated in the efforts to make DOT morph from a security to software. At the beginning it was repeated. Initially the SEC was very likely to consider DOT a security. In 2019 the SEC published its framework that would permit a digital asset initially sold as a security to be later re-evaluated, meaning to no longer be a security. So this is exactly what Web3 Foundation believes happened with DOT, morphing from a security to software. For DOT to have at least a chance to morph from a security to a non-security, it was essential to deliver the network that was truly decentralized. So not decentralized only in its name, as some other networks that are not decentralized in the way they operate. It was emphasized in Polkadot's case, true decentralization is built in natively to its technology and design. One of the proofs proving this is this recent independent study published by Messari indicating Nakamoto coefficient for Polkadot in comparison to other networks. Nakamoto coefficient indicates the number of nodes that must be compromised to affect the blockchain and prevent it from functioning. A high Nakamoto coefficient indicates a network with a high level of decentralization. Polkadot's score is much higher compared to other networks. So in order for DOT to morph from a security to software, it all came down to a true decentralization of Polkadot network. Some of the decisions that were made to make Polkadot truly decentralized were part of the initial network design, such as on-chain governance and on-chain treasury. But some other steps and decisions that Web3 Foundation and Parity made came later. One example of such decisions was speaking to the original DOT purchasers to determine how they would use purchased DOT and what they intended to use it for. In some cases, this meant to turn down potential purchasers who may have wished to purchase large amounts of DOT solely for investment purposes. Another such a decision was to limit the total percentage amount of DOT held by Web3 Foundation and its affiliates. This is because one of the main use cases of DOT is governance, so it was important to make sure that the centralization of the network would not occur. Because if Web3 Foundation or some of its affiliates held an excessive percentage amount of DOT, then the governance of Polkadot could be controlled by only a few subjects, and this would very probably result in the SEC deeming Polkadot network centralized. Another aspect of this was that the main tech leaders in Web3 Foundation and Parity should be talking about Polkadot as about the technology and about DOT token being a part of this technology and not to market DOT. As we all very well know, this approach often resulted in Polkadot being criticized for lack of marketing compared to other ecosystems. Very interesting, right? So lack of marketing is what the community often criticized, but now we have learned what was the reason behind that. And maybe let's keep this in mind also when feeling like criticizing some other ecosystem projects for lack of marketing. To put it simply, the effort was to avoid moving the market, avoid volatility of DOT, which sometimes resulted in Polkadot ecosystem having quiet periods, while some other networks were heavily pushing their marketing efforts. This all comes down to the fact that the main objective of Polkadot founders is not to necessarily market DOT or to increase the market value of Polkadot network. The ultimate goal is to develop and deliver breakthrough technology, infrastructure that will allow for truly decentralized internet with dApps, protecting users' privacy and data. Honestly, hearing this was eye-opening for me, as this once again proves that we are involved in the right ecosystem with an immense potential to make a real difference in the way internet currently works. The ecosystem led by very smart people who see the bigger picture and focus on the long term. Also, this thing called no action letter was mentioned several times. No action letter is a statement from the staff of the SEC that it would not recommend that the Commission take enforcement action against the token and against the subject selling such token. So a no action letter would basically mean a 100% guarantee DOT will not be deemed as security. Towards the end of the talk, it was repeated several times. Web3 Foundation is comfortable and confident that DOT has really morphed, and at this point DOT is merely coordinating software, and thus it should be treated as a non-security. What is also reassuring is that no one from the SEC has implied or said to Web3 Foundation that the legal analysis made by Web3 Foundation claiming that DOT has morphed to software is wrong or does not work. Regarding the difference between DOT, a security, and DOT software, it was explained DOT being software means it has a strong and clear usage within the ecosystem, where DOT is used to build and thus serves as a fundamental part of the whole Polkadot technology, while DOT being a security means its main use is for speculation. It was also pointed out that Parachains are not automatically safe under Polkadot's umbrella in terms of the SEC, so the same criteria that were applied in Polkadot's case and which, as it seems, helped DOT to morph, need to be applied also in Polkadot's Parachains case so that their native tokens could also morph to software. In conclusion, Web3 Foundation is confident DOT has really morphed and became software, and they strongly believe there will not be an enforcement action for violation of the securities laws in connection with the sale of DOT. Still, we need to keep in mind that Web3 Foundation is not necessarily saying things are 100% safe, because there are always risks, but at the moment things are looking very promising for DOT in relation to the SEC. Let me know how you feel about this news. Thanks for watching and see you next time.